All right, guys, what is going on? I'm back as promised. um, but first of all, I would apologize for the lighting. One of my lights broke. I would, but I don't give a shit. You should know that by now. This is as low production value of a channel as there is. So I figured want to do something different, as I'm always trying to do different things here. There is a documentary from 2014? Yeah, 2014, called The 50 Best Horror Films or for Horror Movies You've Never Seen. Now, it's directed by Anthony Massi. I don't even know why I mentioned it because it's a documentary. I don't know any documentary filmmakers really. And PJ Souls narrates it. So we got Linda from Halloween here who narrates this list. Now, I'll make this disclaimer right up front because this is going to be a long video. It's going to be like an hour and a half. I'll premiere it probably, which I should do more of because if it's pretty much just like a pre-recorded live stream. So I don't know why I'm saying it's going to be long then. It doesn't really matter. But this is not, this is a pretty basic list. Like for us horror hardcore fanatics, you've seen probably almost every movie on this list. If not, like I think I've seen out of 50, 40 something. Like, and if I haven't seen it, I've heard of it at least. So, just saying that right up front, like, you're not going to be getting like real deep cuts here, but there are some good movies on here. Like, there are some lesser known films for sure. But, I mean, Halloween 3 is on the list. Like Black Christmas is on the list. Who doesn't know Black Christmas? Who doesn't know Halloween 3? But that's what I mean. This list is more catered towards like casual horror fans to I really like horror and I watch it whenever I can, but I'm not a horror fanatic. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of list this is for. But figured it'd be fun to comment on this list as it counts down, and I will try my best to say where you can watch the movies as I count down through the list, if they're streaming somewhere, which a lot of them I'm pretty sure they are. So let's talk about and count down the 50 best horror movies you've never seen. A countdown of horror's hidden gems. That's what PJ Soul says a lot during the breaks. But you can find this documentary if you want to watch it on Tubi. I'm pretty sure it's uploaded on YouTube also. But those of you, my buddies in the UK, yeah, you're gonna need the YouTube one if it's still up because Tubi doesn't exist there. But it's cool though. It's a fun documentary because you get to hear some of the directors like talk in between while PJ Souls is narrating and talking about the movies, and some of the directors or like journalists for horror magazines and like all that type of shit. No like huge names or anything like that, but it's fun getting to hear the comments on movies you don't really hear talked about that much. Also, just to keep in spirit with this documentary as I'm watching, and you never know who stumbles upon videos and stuff, I'm going to not talk too much about each movie. I'm going to give just no spoilers or anything like that. So if people haven't seen it, they don't get anything spoiled for them. All right, so if Dave ever sees this, we're going to laugh. But number 50 is Basket Case, which we just went through all three of them the last month. And also Henn Lauder's Frankenhooker. So we got to do one for brain damage. I think we're going to do it next Thursday. But for those who haven't seen Basket Case, it is from 1982. It's directed by Frank Henenlotter, and it is about this guy Dwayne who carries his brother Belial in a basket and goes to New York City to try to avenge for Belial, the people who separated them. They were conjoined twins at birth, and Belial is basically just like a lump of flesh with a face and arms. And he's just there's some cool stop motion in this. It's a very grimy feeling movie, like it's kind of like grindhouse feeling, and it's just a total blast. Like there are some disturbing things in this movie, like for sure. That not good acting, like not the best acting, and I don't know. You got to just experience Basket Case. So I know it is streaming on a lot of places, but Tubi has it. Screenbox on Amazon, Arrow, so many places. So Tubi's your best bet, but Basket Case, awesome at number 50. All right, so number 49 is 1979's When a Stranger Calls with Carol Kane. And I was just talking about this movie with my buddy Jason on his channel when we were talking horror remakes, worst and bests. Now, most people only remember the first 15 minutes of this movie because it is an excellent beginning, like to a movie. What an opening scene! And there's so much tension, there's so much atmosphere in it. Like you feel as paranoid and like scared as Carol Kane does. She's a babysitter and she's taking care of two children, and she ends up getting phone calls saying to check on the children, kind of like the old urban legend that used to be told and stuff. I used to hear it growing up, but the rest of the movie I don't care for that much. I mean, it's worth a watch. Like, don't just watch it for the first 15 minutes for sure. But I know a lot of people who like the whole movie. I know some people who feel like I do. It's not bad by any means, but I don't know. Just never did it for me. I've seen it maybe twice. That's about it. Like, and that's all it really needs to be seen by me. So, it is streaming on Amazon Prime and Fubo TV. I just recently heard of Fubo. I don't know what the hell it is, but probably not going to check it out either. So, When a Stranger Calls, number 49. Check it out if you haven't seen it. All right, so number 48, and this is what I mean with some obvious ones for, us hardcore horror fans, friends of mine with channels and just people who are watching who are huge horror fans. But 1984's Silent Night, Deadly Night. I mean, come on. Who hasn't heard of Silent Night, Deadly Night or seen it? But for those who haven't, it is a fun holiday slasher. It's not a favorite of mine in the slasher genre, especially in the 80s, and slashers are my favorite genre of horror. But it's definitely unique. It's definitely fun. There's a cool kill or two in it, and we basically have this guy Billy who was lost his parents due to a crazy guy dressed in a Santa Claus outfit killed his parents, and him and his younger brother end up going to an orphanage with nuns running the place, and they used to, tell him that he should be, he used to get beaten, and so he went through all this and ends up hating Christmas and being told that if you're naughty, then you're gonna get punished, and he ends up snapping and donning a Santa outfit, and he starts going on a killing spree. Typical 80s slasher, plot line, outline of just killer on the loose killing people, but that's why we love fucking slashers, right? So, if you haven't seen for some reason Silent Night, Deadly Night, I'm pretty sure it's hard to find this one streaming. For some reason, you can find 2 through 4 or 2 through 5 streaming in a lot of places, just because they suck. That's why. Like the third one isn't too bad, but and the fourth one is the one with bugs and shit. Like it's weird. Like it gets real out there, and I don't even think I've seen the fifth one, but I don't know where you can find that one streaming. So if you have to find it on Amazon, it's worth a rent for sure for a few dollars. Absolutely. So number 48, Silent Night, Deadly Night. All right. So number 47 is, and I'm hoping I get these numbers correct as I go through this because I'm gonna forget which number we're at several times. But whatever. Slumber Party Massacre from 1982. Now, this is such a fun slasher. I actually prefer Slumber Party Massacre 2, which is not a loved movie at all. It's got its fans. I have friends who love that movie. But the first one is a lot of fun, too. Like, it has the driller killer, who is this escaped mental patient who dons a power drill, and ends up going to a slumber party and massacring everyone. Like, that's pretty much the best description. It's just exactly what it sounds like. Like, you know exactly what to expect here. So I'm pretty sure this is streaming on a lot of places. I know it's streaming on Tubi, so definitely check it out if you're a slasher fan, or if you're a fan of, Jason, Michael, all those famous slashers, and you want to see like some more obscure, or lesser, not obscure, but lesser known slasher films. So number 47, Slumber Party Massacre, which also there's three of them plus a remake. I'm not sure about the remake, but the first three held the distinction of being the first horror series all written and directed by women. So very cool to have that little what's the word I'm looking for? Accolade, for lack of a better term. Also, as I go along, well, in the description, I'll put links to any and all of the videos I've done for the movies on here. So I don't, probably a decent amount, probably like 30 something. I've done spoiler discussions for. So just like with my top 10, top 20 lists and stuff, I'll put a link to each spoiler discussion for whichever movies I've covered. Now, at number 46 is Valentine from, I want to say, 2006, I want to say? Something like that, like early 2000s or so. 2001, maybe, sounds right. But this was directed by the same guy who directed Urban Legend, which people who watch the channel, you know how I feel about everything after Scream and Kevin Williamson involved in. I'm not a Scream fan. I'm not a Scream. I Know What You Did Last Summer fan or any of that. But Urban Legend is one that I don't mind. Like from time to time, like every few years maybe, I might throw it on if there's nothing better to watch. But Valentine, I absolutely love. Like this is one of the few post-Scream slashers of the early 2000s that I adore, and I grow more appreciation for it every single time that I watch it. Me and Sean at Sean Blue Digital, you should subscribe to his channel. I'll put a thing up here. Awesome person with awesome content, and we were watching it on a watch party recently, like a month ago or something like that. And again, we both like from the time before we saw it last, we just liked it even more. And it's just there's great lighting, there's great directing in it. The killer looks awesome. He has like a black coat and stuff like that, all black, and then has like this mask on that looks like a cherub baby. Like it's really effective. And he's going around trying to kill all these people that possibly insulted him on Valentine's Day when they were younger in school. And it's just a nice slasher movie. So if you haven't seen Valentine, I think it was on Tubi a month ago in February. I don't know if they took it off. They might have, but check Tubi. They probably check Tubi for everything here because they have a lot of stuff. But there's a great Denise Richards in here. Who else is in this? I always forget the other people's names. But some hot chicks, and that's always good in slasher movies, right? So number 46, Valentine. All right, now number 45 is a great movie, and this is a little lesser known. Is Paul Soleil's movie Grace from the early 2000s, and this is a great movie. Like it's kind of, as one of the people here say, it's kind of reminiscent of some of like the Japanese horror movies where like it's a female lead and she starts losing her mind and like type of dramas. Pretty good description. Like so we have this woman who she's pregnant and she gets in a car accident and they presume the baby dead, but she has to carry it to term, and when she does, the baby's alive. And it's not like a vampire baby, but that's kind of how it is. Like it's not a vampire, but that's kind of like what it is. So she has to start providing for her baby, and it likes blood, so it needs blood. And it's really a great movie because it explores some great themes about being a parent. That like no matter what, it's your kid. If you're going to get them what they need to survive, and this woman has to go to some extreme lengths in order to take care of her baby, and it's got some scenes in it that definitely are a little hard to watch, but great movie. So I don't know if this is streaming anywhere. Like you might have to rent it on Amazon, but absolutely worth it. Like great movie. So Grace at number 45. Ah, so it is streaming on Tubi. See, like I said, check Tubi for all these because most likely it's on there. But for the people who don't have Tubi, it's also on Prime Video, it's on Apple TV, it's on Redbox. It seems to be on a bunch. So definitely check it out. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, we're at 45. This ain't gonna be as long as I thought. All right, so number 44, yes, 44, I remembered, is The Hunger from 1983, I want to say, with Catherine Deneuve, Susan Sarandon. Um, it's a good movie, but I haven't seen it in forever, and I didn't like it that much to really ever really want to revisit it. But I do know a lot of people who love this movie, and it's like basically a lesbian vampire, like love romance thriller horror. It's it's definitely unique. It's definitely interesting, but it was a one watch, and I saw it. I'm good. But if you want to check it out, like I said, a lot of people definitely love this movie. It's on HBO Max streaming, so check out The Hunger at number 44. So number 43 is Prophecy from 1979, and it has Talia Shire from Rocky, and this is like your run of the mill monster mutated by the environment or polluted whatever type movie. Like feels like it could have been in the 50s, but it's in color and there's better effects. But I mean, there's still a guy in a suit. So it's basically this bear that's mutated. If I forget what it was. It's a decent, fun movie. It's another one I haven't watched in years, but it's worth a rewatch. I might maybe cover this eventually, but the creature the bear looks so weird. Like he's such a crazy. The makeup and the way that it looks is cool, but the design of him for me looks just a little ridiculous. But I mean, it's a mutated bear, so what do you expect? But Prophecy, 1979, it's fun. I think I saw it on Tubi recently when I was browsing around. So, and like I said, just check Tubi. So, 79 Prophecy at number 44. 43. So, number 42 is The Dentist by Brian Yuzna, which this is a fun movie, man. Like, I'm pretty sure this went direct to video. I know the sequel did. Sequel's fun as shit, too. And it's low budget. It's not the best acting. You know, it's a very B movie. But what a fun time this is. Like, we have a dentist who finds out that his wife is cheating on him with the pool guy. Isn't that always how affairs happen? It's always the fucking pool guy or the gardener or it's something like that. Like do something original. Like if I was some wife that wanted to cheat, go like fuck a male manicurist. Like do something different is what I'm saying. Have some imagination, originality. What the world is so lacking of it nowadays. But what a fun movie. He finds out that they're having an affair and he just snaps and he starts doing stuff to his patients that is scary as shit. Like no one likes the dentist. No one likes going to the dentist. No one likes getting cavities filled. Nothing. So just the thought that this could happen. Your dentist could have a fucking real bad day. Like after a real bad life leading up to this one bad day and snap. And God, like, puts you under, you wake up and you have razor blades for teeth or some shit. Like, it's a great fun time. So it might be on Tubi. So check there. But number 42, The Dentist by Brian Yuzna. Such a great movie. All right, number 41. And also, if you watch The Dentist, if you haven't seen it, definitely watch the sequel, The Dentist 2. Because I like it actually better than the first one. But number 41 is 1976, Orson Welles, right? No, H.G. Wells is um, The Food of the Gods. And the reason I'm looking up is because I've never seen it, never cared to. I'm not a big fan of the whole, and it feels like it could be made in the 50s, like just from looking at it here. But I've heard of it. It's about a bunch of giant rats that are attacking a town or something like that. Like your typical 50s oversized giant monster movie. I don't care for them much, so I've never seen it. I can't really comment on it, but I have no clue where it's streaming, nor do I really care. Maybe I'll watch it one day, but if that's your thing, if you like monster movies or just, mutated, same with Prophecy. But this is just like giant sized and not mutated. Well, I guess it's still kind of mutated. Whatever. If you like overrated. Yeah, they're overrated and they're oversized. If you like oversized, big ass animals type movies, give it a watch. Food of the Gods at number 41. Ooh, number 40, man. Motel Hell from 1980, I want to say. It takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters. Dude, this is such a great movie. It has Rory Calhoun, and I think this is one of his last roles. And it's basically a hotel that's called the Motel Hello. But the neon light on the sign of the O is out. So Motel Hell. Like, it's a great name, man. I love that name of this movie. But it gets thrown in with slashers, and I guess it is a little bit. It has like certain beats and stuff of a slasher movie, but basically, Farmer Vincent is living with his sister, and he makes just like amazing fritters and just other meats and stuff like that, and he uses people that he plants in the ground like cabbages and like uses psychedelic lights to like put them in a trance, and so it's fucking out there. It's such a bonkers crazy movie, but man, it's such a great movie. It is so much fun. It's like it has some comedy in it, like so. There's funny bits. There's definitely some crazy bits, and just can't say enough about it. But to be brief, love it. Motel Hell. It's on Tubi. Definitely check it out at number 40 on the 50 best horror movies you've never seen. A countdown of horror's hidden gems. All right, so number 39, maybe I'll fix it if not, is Wrong Turn. So most people have heard of at least Wrong Turn, if not seen it for sure. But for those who haven't seen it, it's basically these group of friends. They're traveling somewhere. They take a wrong turn. They get lost, and they start getting hunted down by these deformed backwoods hillbilly killers, cannibals or some shit. Are they cannibals? I don't remember if they eat people, but they kill the shit out of people. I guarantee you that. There's some cool kills in it, and there's 5 sequels to it, plus a remake that really has nothing to do with the series prior to it. But awesome movie. I'm not sure where it's streaming, but I'm sure you can find it with a quick little Google search. Thanks, JT. You're welcome, guys. I love you guys so much. So, number 39, Wrong Turn. Alright, so number 38 is 1978's The Fury by Brian De Palma. Now, this was just like 2 years after he did Carrie. I've never been the biggest De Palma fan. Like, there's definitely a decent few films of his that I really love. Like, the guy's done all different types of movies. But I've seen it. I don't remember much from it. And I don't think I cared for it that much. But I know a lot of people like I said with one of the other movies, who love this movie. So maybe to do for a rewatch too for me to like finally remember a lot of this. But you have Kirk Douglas in here, you have Adam Stevens, you have Amy Irving. Like, there's a great cast, and it's kind of like if I remember, like a spy thriller, something like that. But check it out if that sounds like something you want to see. It's if you're a Brian De Palma fan, if you're a fan of like psychic type stuff, if spy thrillers, any of that, or if you just want to check out a new movie. So number 38, Brian De Palma's The Fury. All right, at number nine, at number 37. I almost forgot the number now because my stupid Beatles number 9 thing is April Fool's Day from 1986. Now, most people have seen this, but if you haven't, it's about a group of friends. It has Amy Steele in it, who was from Friday the 13th Part 2. There's a great cast in here. There's a lot of actors and actresses from like some 80s comedies and stuff, but not too big on 80s comedies. I've seen my decent share, but I don't know who these other people's names are, but I recognize them for sure. But it's a slasher movie, and all I can really say is that a group of friends go to their friend Muffy's house for a weekend, and some killer is picking them off one by one, and there is definitely something that doesn't seem, it isn't what it seems in this movie, and that's pretty much all I could say about it. It's definitely worth a watch. It's a cult classic. It's a lot of fun. My opinion is just once you do see it, it's hard to, the replayability isn't that great on it. But if you haven't seen it, you'll know what I mean if you check it out. So number 37, April Fool's Day from 1986, and I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi or Amazon because I just recently watched it. So definitely on one of those. All right, so number 36 is 1980s Humanoids from the Deep. This is a fun movie, man. Whoops. Whoa. Who's got cat like reflexes? Catches that lamp down there. Oh, I gotta fix this fucking lamp. Hold on. That's cool. Actually gave a nice little change of lighting a little bit. Kind of brings the mood down a little bit. I'm enjoying it. So, Humanoids from the Deep. It's a Roger Corman movie. It was the king of low budget horror movies and just film in general. And it's definitely not for everyone. Like, basically, we have these fish that were mutated. There's a lot of mutation shit in horror. They end up getting mutated and become these giant slimy fish creatures, and they overrun this like fishing village, if I remember, and they try and do rape a bunch of women and kill a bunch of men. It's completely out there. It sounds exactly how I just described it, is exactly what you get. So if you're not into some of that subject matter, avoid it. But if you're into, not if you're into like rape and shit, but if it doesn't bother you, in movies and stuff like that, then fun ass time. Like, I love Humanoids from the Deep. I got to do a video on that soon. But number 36 is 1980s Humanoids from the Deep. I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi. Because, yeah, it is, because I was streaming recently. Uh, Streaming recently. Yeah, I was streaming recently. What's wrong with me today? It's every day. Um, I was looking through Tubi looking for something to watch, and I'm pretty sure I saw it. So, on Tubi, like usual. So, number 35. And I should have said this at the beginning. I'll probably put it in the chat for the premiere. As we go every 10, let me know in the comments and stuff in the chat how many that you've seen so far out of all of them. So every 10, put like 8 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. Then the next one, 12 out of 20. And let's see. I'd be interested to see what type of responses we get. But Number 35 is 2006's Hatchet from Adam Green, which I fucking love this whole series. All four of them. And Victor Crowley, the fourth film, is probably my favorite in the series, tied with the original. Like, it depends what mood I'm in. But for those who haven't seen Hatchet and love slasher movies from the 80s with all the great practical effects, this movie and series has you covered. Like, there is such gnarly kills in this series. We have Tony Todd's in the second one. We have, and in the first one too. What am I talking about? And oh, always forget the black guy's name in this, but he's fucking hysterical. There's a lot of comedy at the beginning of these movies until Victor Crowley, which is a ghost of a killer. Well, he wasn't a killer originally, but basically his father. There were kids messing with him. Used to be old, deformed, still is, and they ended up trying to get him out of his house and threw a bunch of firecrackers in and ended up lighting the cabin on fire. His dad wasn't home. His dad comes home and he tries opening the door to get his son out of there with a hatchet, and he ends up breaking through the door and the hatchet goes right into Victor's head and he died. And he ends up, there's more that's explained in the sequel, so I don't want to give that away, but he basically keeps coming back in Honey Island Swamp in New Orleans and butchering anybody who comes around his house or his territory or in the swamp. Amazing practical effects, amazing kills, and like some of my favorite kills in the slasher movie like are in this series. Check out the whole series if you're a slasher fan, and all four are definitely on Tubi. So, but beware, 2 and 3 on Tubi. The last few times I watched them, they have the R-rated cut. Now, no one wants to watch an R-rated cut of a fucking Hatchet movie. That's why we're watching it. It's for the gore and the kills and everything. So why put that on Tubi? I don't know. So definitely seek out the unrated cuts for 2 and 3. 1, there isn't a cut version, and 4, there isn't a cut version. So you're good with those. But all four are fantastic, and the fourth film is not called Hatchet 4. It's just simply called Victor Crowley. But definitely check it out if you're a slasher fan and are looking for one of the only slasher icons that we have that's not from the 70s and 80s and 90s. From the 2000s onward, we have Art the Clown from Terrifier and Victor Crowley from the series. That's pretty much it. And he's played by the great Kane Hodder, who obviously played Jason Voorhees in part 7, 8, 9, and Jason X. So definitely check it out. Awesome, awesome movies. Can't recommend it enough, as you can see. All right, this is a good one. Number 34 is May from the early 2000s. I want to say, or 2006, I want to say. But has Angela Bettis in it, which I really love her acting. Like, she's so awkward in this movie, and it's just about this girl, May. And if May, if you're watching, it's you. No, this one's unhinged, to say the least. You're awesome. But May is a very lonely, sheltered girl. She has a glass eye, which has always, been a hard thing to deal with, especially with people being scared of her. And she's just very awkward, and just I love her performance so much in this movie. Angela Bettis. She played Carrie in the TV remake from '02, and she basically has her only friend is a doll that she grew up with, and it's in a nice case and stuff, and she's trying to meet this guy and a few guys and stuff, and they start doing her wrong, and she decides to make her own perfect guy. Is about all I could say with that. But awesome, awesome movie. This is a little lesser known one, so cool to see this one. And yeah, definitely check out May. I'm pretty damn sure it's on Tubi. I recently passed it while scrolling, which is what I meant to say instead of screaming and shit like a few numbers ago. So, number 30, whatever the fuck it is, May, awesome. Number 34. So, number 33 is Lamora from 1975, 76, pretty sure. But I'm not a big vampire movie guy. Like, I love Bram Stoker's Dracula. I love Night Flyer. I love actually a decent amount of vampire movies, but it's not my like go-to genre, like by any means. So I've never seen Lamora. I've heard pretty good things about it. Like, so I know some people who really like it. I've heard it talked about. So I can't comment on this one, but check it out. If vampire things are your thing, well, that was redundant. Fuck you. I don't care. It's my channel. I can be as redundant as I want. I can keep saying the same word over and over and over and over. So yeah, number 34, if you're into vampire stuff or gothic feeling movies, which I love that, but I gotta check this movie out actually. So Lamora at number 34. Number 32, which again, I'm not a big Dracula fan, but it's Brides of Dracula from 1960. Never seen it, not really interested. It's a Hammer film, I'm pretty sure. So if you're into Hammer and stuff, definitely check that out. But if you're into Hammer and stuff, you mostly have seen most of these movies. So yeah, if you want to check it out, again, if you're a vampire slash Dracula guy, definitely check it out. So surprised we have a random interviewer here. My sister, my gorgeous sister
Hi guys,
Ashley.
how are you?
She is 3 years younger than me, so I'm the big brother and I'm the better one.
The better one.
I know, there's
Aw,
only one brother. I love you too.
I love you.
So, tell us real quick in this random spur of the moment interview, what are your top five horror movies of all time?
Oh man, that's a loaded question.
Or five favorites that you can
I
think
don't
of
know.
fastest?
I mean, it's not, one of my favorites. We talk about this. It's not like
Well,
a
tell the viewers.
horror. I mean, it's a dark comedy. I love American Psycho.
All
I
right.
love it, and we need to do a review about it. But I've
Yeah,
been
10 months
terrible. I
almost.
mean, I don't know. I have so many things
Yeah, I know.
going on.
Next
But
movie.
we will talk about that. I don't know. You put me on the spot. I would have to really
All
think
right, think
about
of it
this.
as you go. When's
Um,
the first horror movie you remember seeing?
I like ones that are like more like I like It Follows.
It Follows is awesome.
You love that movie.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
What
great movie.
else?
It Follows.
I'm trying to think. There was another one. Would You Rather?
Would You Rather is
Love that
great.
movie.
Would
I
You
wouldn't say
Rather?
they're my
Definitely check
favorites,
them out.
but those stick out to me. I like just psychological things, things that make you think. You know what I mean? Things that
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
twist ending
Psychological
and like you're
horror.
really exactly
Yeah,
psychological anything.
all that type
Into
of
that,
stuff would
into
be
that,
awesome.
folks.
So psychological horror
I
is
don't
my
know who I'm
sister's
talking to,
thing.
but how's it going?
Well,
But
you're gonna do the American Psycho soon, and American Psycho 2 we have to
yeah,
watch because you never saw the second one. Well,
with
Mila
Mila
Kunis.
Kunis, no, I
It's
haven't.
not the
But
greatest,
I
but it's all right.
fucking love her. I think she's
Yeah,
incredible.
she's good in it
I relate to
actually.
her personality
And
wise.
what's the first movie the horror movie you remember seeing ever?
Mm. Did you show it to me? No, right?
I don't remember.
I mean, Exorcist definitely
Exorcist.
was one of them.
That's an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, that's another one. That's one of my favorites. But first horror movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I need to rack my brain. I need to rack my memory. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, you
I'd have
get
to get
back
back.
to us.
Sorry, guys. I'm not like just
All
got
right.
back from dinner.
There we
Had
go.
a few drinks.
So
We're
you'll
just
think
living
of it. You'll
large.
think about it, and then
I'll
we'll
think about it.
on the
I'll think
American
about it.
Psycho thing, you can throw them in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he
Thank
just
you, Ashley.
spontaneously threw me into this, so sorry guys if I'm a little discombobulated,
Thank you,
but
my
I'll come back to you on
thank you,
that.
Sister Ashley, for stopping
Bye.
by.
See you later.
And like that, she's gone. Yeah, my sister showed up for a little bit, so I said, "Get your ass in here," because we've been talking about doing American Psycho, a video discussion on that since the channel started, and nothing. So I said, "Get your ass on camera." She's been on the channel one other time, like for a short video. But let's get back to the list, shall we? So number 31 is 1990s William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist 3 Legion. Now, this is a fucking phenomenal sequel and movie. Now, for people who haven't seen it, I know it's gotten a lot of reappraisal over the past few decades, and people absolutely love it, and that's awesome. You got Brad Dourif in here, you got George C. Scott. Why do I always blank on the other guy's name? But just phenomenal performances in this movie. You have Jason Miller from the original Exorcist, Father Karras, and there's basically a Gemini killer that's on the loose, and George C. Scott is trying to figure out who the killer is, and then leads him to meeting Brad Dourif and meeting Jason Miller, Father Karras, and there's a possession scene and stuff that was kind of forced in by the studios, but phenomenal movie. I know people who love it more than the original Exorcist. So if you haven't seen any of the Exorcist sequels, definitely check out Exorcist 3. Like 2 is not good. But I mean, and you don't need to see 2 to understand 3 at all. It's completely contained pretty much in its own story. But definitely check out number 31, I think. Yes, Exorcist 3. Should be, it's definitely on Tubi. So check it out on Tubi, guys. Also, about Exorcist 3, it has one of the best jump scares in a horror movie, like ever. It's so tense. It's so great. That's how you do a fucking jump scare. Not like in the modern horror and stuff where it's just loud music cues, like, and when someone freaks out and they get scared by their friend when they should have knocked them in the fucking teeth for popping out at them and not knowing who it is, but then just, it's so stupid. There's no deserved scare there. There's no tension build up. I hate jump scares, but this is one of the best ones. Exorcist 3. All right, number 30 I already said at number 30 is Burnt Offerings from 1976. So Karen Black is in this, she's a fucking horror icon, and I saw this once a very long time ago, and I don't remember anything from it. Like maybe I was drunk or something. I remember nothing from this movie, but I know I saw it once, like over a decade ago. But it is good, and it's a cult classic. Like people follow this movie and love the shit out of this movie. So I need to rewatch it. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. So get on number 30 on the 50 best horror movies you've never seen's list. Burnt Offerings. Check it out. Oh, this is a good one. At number 29, we have Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse from 1981. Now, this is a great, fun slasher. It's not really a slasher. It's just something totally similar, but it's not your run-of-the-mill slasher film from the 80s. Tobe Hooper does a phenomenal job directing this movie, as usual. I think I heard him say once that it's not a favorite film of his. I don't know why. We have these two couples who go to a festival or a fair near them, and they get stuck in the funhouse overnight. And the guy who works at the funhouse is the son of, like, the owner, and he wears a Frankenstein mask because his face under that is not great. I'll just say that. You get a nice reveal with that, and it's just a great movie. The whole atmosphere of being at a fair, at a festival like this, and in a fun house, and seeing all the fun house aesthetics and stuff is awesome. And as Tobe Hooper is so great with imagery and visual imagery and stuff in his movies, and it just looks fantastic. It looks like the movie looks great. The cinematography is awesome, and the main chick is pretty cute, if I recall correctly. I've been thinking actually about doing covering this movie like soon. So definitely look out for a video on the Funhouse. So number 29, Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse. I think, and I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi. So definitely check it out if you're a Hooper fan, if you're a slasher fan, if you're a creature feature fan, or if you're just a horror fan. See, like this one should be obvious to everybody. who's a horror fan, unless, like I said, you've seen the first Halloween, and that's it, and you've seen the first Friday, and that's it, and never dove any deeper than that. But Halloween 3 from 1982. Now, as silly as that sounds to most of you, the people who haven't seen it or saw it once and absolutely hated it, which it was so hated when this movie came out, because there is no Michael Myers here. This is the only movie in the franchise without Michael, and people just wanted more of the same. Now, Carpenter, when he first started with Halloween, he planned on doing an anthology series. Like every Halloween, they would release a movie called John Carpenter's Halloween, and it was not going to be the same with Michael Myers. It was going to be a different story every single time. So this was his chance to experiment and do that. And as hated as it was, like when it came out and by a lot of people, it's gotten such a big reappraisal over the years by both critics and horror fans. I love this movie. I absolutely love Halloween 3. It is my favorite sequel in the entire franchise. Like, without Michael. They all have Michael except this one. No, but it is my favorite sequel. Like, it is John Carpenter's Halloween, which is in my top 3 films of all time. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, right under it. So, this is on Tubi. I know that. Absolutely check it out if you've never seen it for some reason. And you don't have to see Halloween 2. You don't even have to see Halloween. If for some reason you're on a horror channel and you've never seen John Carpenter's Halloween, which I find very, very hard to believe that that's a situation. But who knows? But definitely check it out. It's about Tom Atkins is in it, and he was a pretty much a John Carpenter staple, like for his early films. Same with Buck Flower and Kurt Russell, but a lot of worked with a lot of the same awesome actors. But this movie is so different from John Carpenter's Halloween. But the score in this movie, first of all, is absolutely phenomenal. Like, real heavy on the synthesizers, as usual for Carpenter's scores. And I love the score in this movie. Like, that alone. But it's a story about Tom Atkins, and he meets this woman, and he basically breaks into this place that's run by an evil Irishman named Connell Cochran, who is selling silver shamrock masks, 3 different masks, a pumpkin, a skeleton, and a witch, to children and people all over the country, at least, if not the world. But they never really indicate that. But these masks, you're supposed to watch a big broadcast at 9 p.m. that night on Halloween night, and everyone's gonna die. The masks melt on your head and turn your head into bugs and spiders and snakes and shit. Don't ask me how it makes sense. It doesn't. But it is such a great movie. So Halloween 3, number 28. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. And the jingle will get stuck in your head forever. 3 more days till Halloween. Halloween, Halloween. 2 days till Halloween. Silver Shamrock. I had to do it. Alright, so number 27 is Hard Candy from 2005, which stars Patrick Wilson and Ellen Page. I know she has a different name now. I don't give a fuck. On the credits, she's Ellen Page. We all know Ellen Page. It's Ellen Page. I don't do that PC shit here. So just people who've never seen the channel before, just know that. You can click off now. But I wouldn't even consider this a horror movie, really. There's horrific things, like one in particular, that almost happens. But it's almost like a two-man play. Like, it's shot in basically one location, except for like one at the very beginning. And it's about this guy played by Patrick Wilson, who meets someone he's been talking to online an underage girl played by Ellen Page, and she goes over to his house, and basically, I'll just say that he's not the one that you should be afraid of. Should be afraid of. The girl is a lot more scary, and there's just some both excellent performances in this movie. It is a absolute disturbing movie with one scene in particular which will make guys just wince at the thought of. And great to see the tables turned in a movie. So hard candy at whatever number, definitely check it out. I think it's on Tubi. Ooh, number 26, a goody goody one, and one of a goody goody. All right, whatever. Run with it. 1995's Castle Freak by Stuart Gordon, a Full Moon picture, which this is my favorite movie from Full Moon, like without a doubt. Full Moon is a production company for just very low budget movies that they're so bad they're great. And Castle Freak is one of those few earlier ones that it's not like ridiculous. It's not over the top. Like it's just a great fucking horror movie. And we have Jeffrey oops. Not Jeffrey Oops. There is no Jeffrey Oops that I know of. Maybe it exists. Maybe he's watching right now. Are you Jeffrey Oops? Leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments if you're Jeffrey Oops. But Castle Freak, you got Jeffrey Combs, like who's one of my horror icons. He's like one of my favorite horror actors. He's iconic. Barbara Crampton, who is a goddess back then, and she's still looking great now. Like, and Stuart Gordon directing. Every time that trio worked together, Reanimator happened, From Beyond happened, Castle Freak happened, and basically Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs are married, and they have a blind daughter, and just recently lost a son due to Jeffrey Combs' character driving drunk and getting in an accident which blinded his daughter. So him and killed the son. So him and his wife are very distant, and he inherits a Italian castle. So they go over there to stay for a little bit and assess all the stuff in there, see if they can sell everything. And there turns out that there is a freak living in the castle and starts stalking the daughter and the parents. Awesome creature feature, monster movie. It doesn't get better for Full Moon Pictures for me. And just, again, Stuart Gordon, Jeffrey Combs, and the Barbara Crampton triangle. Never fucking fails. So, number 25, I think, Castle Freak. Definitely on Tubi, if not on Amazon Prime. Yeah, this is definitely now going to be longer than I thought, if not longer. All right, that was 26. Number 25, we're halfway through, is John Gallagher's, I think that's his last name, Feast from 2005. What a fun movie, man. Like, what a sick movie. What a fun movie. This is like an homage to the splatter films of like early Peter Jackson, like Dead Alive or Brain Dead, it's also called. Is one my favorite zombie film of all time. It's and early Sam Raimi, like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. Like this is very splatter esque, like those directors' early movies, and it is fantastic. Like there are three of these, this and two sequels, and it's one long continuous story arc, and I love all three of them. And basically, we have a bar that is overrun by these monsters, and they're horny. They fuck each other. Every bodily fluid you can imagine is sprayed, shot, thrown, all vomited all throughout this movie. It is so much fun. It's so disgusting. It is an excellent monster movie. So if you haven't seen Feast, I'm pretty sure they have all three on Tubi. Definitely check those out, and you will have a blast. Number 24. I haven't done that in a while. That stupid emphasis on the number like I used to do in the countdowns. 2006's Slither which this is a fun one too, man. If you like, again, monster movies or like kind of zombie movies. I mean, like if you like zombie movies, it kind of has elements of it, or like the Blob, things coming from outer space and infecting people. There's Michael Rooker is in this, which I love him in fucking everything. Like Henry, fucking Portrait of a Serial Killer is absolutely fantastic, and you have these alien slug things that get to Earth. I'm pretty sure that's how it started. I haven't seen this in a while, but these alien slugs start infecting people and turning them into murderous, like infecting zombies. Basically, I mean, I guess it is very zombie-esque, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's a lot of fun. If you've seen it, you know how much fun it is. So number 24, Slither from 2006. And I forget where it's streaming. I haven't seen it streaming, like scrolling through. Check Tubi. All right, number 23 is Inside from 2007. Now, this is a sick movie, man. Like, this is definitely a lesser known movie from, even decent horror fans. This is one of the French extremity films that came out of France during the early 2000s that were just known for just being completely brutal. And they are. Like Martyrs as well, Frontiers, so many, High Tension, so many. And this one is particularly gruesome for me. Basically, the title has two meanings. You have a woman who is pregnant, like close to giving birth, and she gets in a car accident with her husband. He dies, the baby's fine, and somebody shows up that night, or a few nights later, whenever it is, and breaks into the house. And so she's getting inside the house, but she wants what's inside the mother. She wants her baby. And then just blood everywhere for the whole fucking like second act of the movie and third act. Insane. There's so much blood and gore. There's so much crazy stuff going on, and it's not like 80s gore. Like it's real, pretty realistic looking. Like very on the serious tone. Like instead of just over the top. It's not for the faint of heart. It's definitely not for everybody. But if you like those like real extreme horror movies, like, and if you've seen Martyrs or those movies I mentioned earlier, High Tension, etc., definitely check this out. It is on Tubi, which I was surprised that they put it on Tubi last month. So I'm definitely doing a video on it soon. I was going to a week or so ago, and then just found another movie I wanted to do more. So didn't get to it, but definitely soon. So number whatever, Inside. Number 22, 1979's Tourist Trap. Now, this is a favorite of mine. Like it's a slasher film, but not, if that makes any sense. Let me explain then. It has a mass killer. There's a group of friends that are getting killed off, but he rarely, if ever, is using his hands or a weapon. This guy is telekinetic. Like, he can move shit with his mind. And, man, if you're scared of mannequins, ignore this movie because it will terrify you. The mask is so creepy in this. I love the mask. It's just a mannequin mask up to and covers everything except for here and the eyes. And the eyes are like black. It looks so creepy. It's so effective. The way the killer talks, it's so creepy as well. There's a scene in here that, and this is hardly any blood even in this movie. Like no gore, no over the top kills. It can be a little slow at times for people who like aren't big onto like movies from the 70s, but give it a chance because it is fantastic. And it is about this group of friends who their car breaks down right next to a tourist trap, like a roadside attraction. And it's like a wax museum, but with mannequins. And Chuck Connors, the great Chuck Connors, who I think this was his last role in the movie, or if not one of. Pretty sure it's his last though. And he runs the place, and he has a brother Davey who makes these mannequins, and just an all-out blast, man. Creepy. The sound design is fucking phenomenal in this movie. They use a lot of great music. The main theme is so fitting for this movie. It's completely bonkers. You trust me, you'll never see a movie that's similar to this. So if you haven't seen Tourist Trap, check it out. Number 22 should be absolutely on Tubi. So, number 21 is 1979, I want to say. 75, 75. Trilogy of Terror, which is an early horror anthology film starring the great Karen Black, who was also in Burnt Offerings on the list, who's also in Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. Awesome, total horror legend. And she basically is in all three segments. But what they say here is right. Like no one really remembers the first two segments. Like I don't. I barely do. The first one's like her. She's like a teacher of some younger kid. She starts having an affair with her. I could be totally wrong on that, but something like that. No one remembers those first two. It's all about the last segment with the Zuni fetish doll. That it before way before Chucky. This is the way they film it is so great. Like they had to figure out how to make it look like this Zuni fetish doll, this little thing with the spear and stuff, to move. And like they ended up doing like POV and having it like move along, so it's like he's chasing her. And they have some animation too, some sort of effect. I forget how they actually pulled it off, but creepy. The fetish doll never stops trying to kill this girl. And it's just he's vicious. Like it's an absolute classic. And check out the first. Don't just skip to this one. Check out the whole movie. Check out all three of them, because even though I don't remember them and not a lot of people do, they're not bad by any means. They could be a little slow paced, but this is just the most action packed one and the scariest, in my opinion. So, number 21, I'm pretty sure this is on Shudder or Amazon. Maybe even Tubi, so check that too, as always. So, number 21, Trilogy of Terror. All right, number 20. We're getting down to the top 20 here. 2006's Splinter. Now, if you have seen this movie, you know how awesome it is. I just did for the first episode of the podcast I recently started, which is basically just my regular videos, but with audio only. Same shit. But it's going to be another way for me to cover some movies and get more movies out there and videos for you guys. I just realized my mic is on the wrong side, too. But if you haven't seen it, it is about this couple that are going camping, and they end up being abducted by these boyfriend and girlfriend criminals, and getting in the car, having them drive for them. And they stop at a gas station, and they end up at a little battle with a organism that can take over another person's body, like a host, with like these crazy like splinter like things that like jut out of them. It's a great like creature feature. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. It's on Tubi, so check it out. Number 20, Splinter. Also, it has one of the most fucking hardcore, gnarly arm cut off, break off scenes in a horror movie for me. Like, usually you see an arm get cut off with, a hatchet or a machete or something like that, especially zombie movies. If someone gets bit on the arm, on the lower arm, the hand, and they can cut off right there. What if you don't have something to cut off, to cut through bone? There's a scene in here that one of the people have to get their arm cut off, and after cutting around the arm, they have a cement block the other one takes and breaks the bone and to break the arm off. Oh, can you imagine that fucking pain, man? That's insane. Number 19 is 2001's Session 9. This is a great movie, man. If you haven't seen Session 9, this is a more or lesser known one too. But I see it getting a lot more love like over the years. And it's about this is asbestos removal team who go to get the asbestos out of a abandoned mental hospital. And while they're there, they find a box of tapes labeled Session 1, Session 2, all the way to Session 9. That's all I'm telling you for those who haven't seen it. It's just, it'll fuck with your mind, this movie. Like one of those movies that really will stick with you for a few days thinking about it after the credits start rolling. So definitely check out Session 9. I don't know where it's streaming. Again, try the usual. Number 18 is Ginger Snaps from 2000. Now, this is a favorite werewolf movie of mine. And fun JT's horror discussion fact, this was the first video I did on the channel. So, awesome movie. It's basically a metaphor for like a woman coming into adulthood and comparing that to somebody turning into a werewolf. And they have these two sisters, these rebellious sisters, Bridget and her older sister Ginger, which I love that whole little double meaning for the name. Ginger Snaps, meaning ginger and she snaps, or the cookie, which is very yummy. So they make a pact basically that they're in it together in life, they're alone in life except for each other, and if they're not out of like the whole stupid scene of school and jocks and all that preppy girls and shit, then like they have like a suicide pact basically. And Ginger one night and Bridget are walking in the woods to try to get a little prank revenge back on this bitch from school, and she is a bitch, this woman. And well, she's a girl, she's in high school, but she ends up getting her period, and then she gets attacked by a werewolf, and she starts transforming into one. Now, I like about this movie, it's a gradual transformation. It's not like The Howling by Joe Dante or John Landis's American Werewolf in London, which are some of the greatest transformation scenes in a horror movie. But it's an instant thing when the full moon, and then they transform from a human into a werewolf, and then they're a werewolf. This takes time. Like she'll start growing some hair, and then like she'll start growing fangs, and like slowly starts becoming a werewolf. And absolutely fun film. Catherine Isabel is gorgeous. I've had a crush on her since this movie, basically. And if you like werewolf movies, this is definitely one to check out. And if you've seen it, you know how great this movie is. So number something 19 is Ginger Snaps. Check it out on Tubi because it's definitely on there. 18. Number 17 is one that I just covered also on my podcast. Is 1976's Alice Sweet Alice, which is a great early slasher-ish film. I say slasher-ish because it's still not at the level of like a big body count. There's no gratuitous nudity. There's no hardly any gore or anything like that. But there's like one victim or two victims. But it's the first role of a young Brooke Shields, and she's not in it long, but it's basically about these siblings, Alice and Bridget. I'm pretty sure her name. No, Bridget's Ginger Snaps just now. Whatever her name is, Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields and Alice, and they are both going for their first communion. There's a lot of religious themes in here, so if that's a thing for you, like religious horror, then you'll definitely like this movie. Kind of like if you're a fan of The Exorcist for all the religious themes in it, definitely check this movie out. And they end up going for their first communion, and a killer ends up killing Brooke Shields, the younger sister, and they suspect that it might be Alice. And I love how they handle that. They make you throughout this movie because she is a troubled child, and it goes back and forth with making you think that she is the killer or that she's just a misunderstood, troubled young girl, like 12, 13 years old, something like that. And I love it, mostly everything about this movie. So 1976 is Alice Sweet Alice. Check it out. It's on Tubi. Or no, it's not on Tubi. It's on Amazon or Shutter, I'm pretty sure. So check it out. Alice Sweet Alice at number 17. Doing decent with the numbers. You gotta give me fucking credit. Got maybe what, four wrong? Fuck you. Number 16 is Visiting Hours from 1980, I want to say. Now, I'll say this, and this is why Halloween 2 is not high up on the list in the Halloween franchise for me. I do not like movies that take place in a hospital. I just don't. I hate hospitals. I mean, who likes them? But I don't like them. I get like nervous and anxious in hospitals. I don't like them. Thank God I've never broken a bone or broken anything. I never had surgery, and I attribute my bone awesomeness to I love milk. I drink a cold glass of milk twice a day. Yeah, drink more milk if you don't want to break your fucking bone when you're like running through the woods to get away from a serial killer. But I have no interest in this movie. I might have seen it, I don't remember. And that's as much as I can give. I don't know where it is. Find it. If hospital setting movies are for you, check it out. But I do remember it has Michael Ironside, who is excellent, especially in David Cronenberg's Scanners. If you have not seen Scanners, here's a deep cut for y'all fans who are not knowing a lot of these movies. Scanners, I'm pretty sure it might be on this if I remember correctly, actually. Scanners by David Cronenberg. Awesome. Like in my top 30 horror films of all time, maybe. Ooh, number 15 is Repulsion from Roman Polanski. I'm pretty sure it's late 60s, 1969. It's in black and white. And all I will say is this woman is alone in her apartment for a long bit, and she ends up slowly just descending into complete madness. That's all I'm saying. Watch it. It's a disturbing movie, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Like I love Repulsion. So I'm not sure where it's streaming. Google it, but definitely check out number 15 on the 50 horror. Fuck that up. The 50 best horror movies you've never seen. Yeah. A countdown of horror's hidden gems. All right, number 14 is Alone with Her from 2006. This has Colin Hanks in it, and I remember liking it, but I only saw it once. and I'm pretty sure it was when it came out or a year or two afterwards at the most. It's about, and it was great commentary at the time. It would be even more like effective now with hidden cameras and like how small they've gotten and being able to spy on people so easily. And Colin Hanks plays this guy who meets this girl and ends up like installing cameras in her apartment eventually and starts spying on her and just being a complete stalker. And that's all you really need to know going into it. But great movie. As much as I remember from it, I remember that it was a great movie. That's another one I got to rewatch. So, number 14, right? You would know is Alone with Her. Awesome movie. Now, the next number is number 13. Unlucky 13. And this is 1987's Near Dark. Now, if I remember correctly, if my boy Mike is watching, isn't this your favorite vampire movie of all time? Because I'm pretty sure I saw it once. I don't remember if I even saw it. So who knows? Again, drunk night. Who knows? But I gotta see this or rewatch it and remember it because I know I'm pretty damn sure that was what the movie you said is your favorite vampire movie. But it's like a vampire film mixed with like some cowboy movie elements, like a western kind of, like a western vampire tale. That's all I really know. So, I think it might be on Tubi. I think I passed it, and if it's on there, then I should finally rewatch it. So, number 13, Near Dark from 1987, the year before I was born. Number 12 is a great movie. That this is another one that's a little more lesser known on this list. Is 2007's Joshua. This is one of your creepy kid movies, and basically they have this family, this husband and wife, who have a kid, and Sam Rockwell plays the father and does a excellent job, like as usual. I love Sam Rockwell, but he ends up having this son Joshua, who's maybe 10, 11 ish at the time of the movie. I forget. It's been a while since I've seen this too, but it's a great movie. I've seen it a few times, and Joshua ends up having a lot of weird tendencies that could possibly be that he's evil, but he might not be. And that's a great thing that they handle throughout this whole movie. Is this kid like an evil murderer like kid, or is he just a troubled young kid? And they go back and forth on that and make you really wonder. And the ending of this movie is so good. So good. It's a bit of a slow burn for sure. I love slow burns. If you love slow burns and you love evil kid movies, definitely check out Joshua. I don't know where it's streaming. Quick Google search. The best ingredient, man. I was like Jamaican, not Italian. And I'm half Italian, so I should be able to do a decent Italian accent. But I'm Irish and I don't know how to do a good Irish accent, so I don't know what to say. Oh, and that's right, with Joshua. Uh Vera Farmiga's in it. Totally forgot that. This was early for I'm not too early, but this is pre Conjuring movies and all the things that she's done since, and she is just what a fucking blessing that we have an actress like Vera Farmiga. Like I think she's one of the best, like of her generation. Such a great actress, and she's in this with really short hair. Maybe that's why I didn't recognize her for a second when I looked up and watched what they were saying. But yeah, awesome, awesome movie. Check it out. Number 11. We're getting to number 10 next. We got 10 left. So, 1973's Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Now, I haven't seen this in a long while, but it's a fun one. Now, this was originally a made for TV film, and it has to do with this wife and husband who end up moving into like a ranch to try to fix it up. And there's a locked basement that they go in, down, and they find this bricked up wall, and behind that has reinforced bars on it, and basically says like one of these people say like stay the fuck out. And she ends up it's there's a fireplace behind it, I'm pretty sure if I remember, and they take it apart, and it releases these three little goblins that start a ruckus, to say the least. Can you describe the ruckus, sir? Every time I say ruckus, gotta get that out. So, and it's got a great ending. Like, it's got a real creepy ending. I remember that. So, check it out. I don't know where it will be streaming. You know the one to try. All right, so we're in the number 10. The top 10 horror movies you've never seen. I think I've maybe not seen five of these. Like, probably around there. Mostly like the vampire ones, the cheaper and older vampire ones. But yeah, hope you guys are keeping track. Fucking none of you are, I know that. So number 10, we have Takashi Miike's Audition from 1999, almost a 2000, and this is a pretty famous movie for its ending, its last 20 minutes or so. Crazy third act, and it's about this guy whose wife dies, and it's just him and his son even is pushing him to try to meet someone new and try to date. And he's works for like a casting company or something like that, and he holds an audition for someone to date for like his ideal girl. And it turns out that she is not what she seems to be, not the girl that she seems to be. There is some absolutely disturbing scenes in the third act of this movie. Like the whole sequence of the ending, the last 20 minutes or so, is just really uncomfortable to watch at times. Like for sure for some people. But if that type of horror, and it's weird. This movie goes from like a weird comedy, like a romantic comedy, and evolves into like a terrifying in like thriller horror movie. It's absolutely infamous and for good reason. So if you haven't seen it, pretty sure it's on Tubi. And yeah, number 10, getting down into the top 10 a little bit more, one at a time, with Audition 2000. See, told you I almost said it last time. 99, we're gonna party like it's 1999. Number 9 is one of my favorite vampire films of all time, and that is 2004's Let the Right One In. Now, some people, and I feel more people, have seen the remake, Let Me In. It's alright. Like, it's good. There's good performances, but Let the Right One In, and it's a Swedish horror film, is just so much better for me, like in every way. And we just have these two kids, this young boy, they're probably like 11, 12ish, I forget how old they are. And he befriends this similar age girl who is a vampire. And just it's a sweet story actually. It's just like the bond that they like form together, and that they can like she smells like shit, and he like has no problem with it 'cause she's dead, and like he gets bullied a lot, and she tries protecting him. Like it's a great little tale of friendship with vampire thrown in. So if you haven't seen Let the Right One In, absolutely watch it. I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi. Let Me In, like I said, if you like Let the Right One In, give Let Me In a shot. Like it's a decent remake, but it's nowhere near the original for me. So number 9, Let the Right One In from 2004. All right, number 8 is in my top 20 films of all time, horror films, is 1985 Stuart Gordon's Reanimator. If anyone hasn't seen this movie, Stop this fucking video, go on Tubi, and watch Reanimator. Like, seriously. It is such a great movie, and this is the second movie now on the list that has Stuart Gordon directing with the legendary Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton. Absolutely iconic movie. Jeffrey Combs as Herbert West is an iconic performance, and just so much great effects in this movie, such great practical effects. And it is, for those who don't know, for some reason, it's also based off a H.P. Lovecraft story series called Frank West's Reanimator. But Frank West is a medical student who basically found out a cure for death and is able to reanimate the dead. Although they don't come back the same as they were. They come back very aggressive and sort of like zombies and just try to fucking kill you. And just, God, this is my favorite performance by Jeffrey Combs. My one right under that is Would You Rather from 2012, 2011, something like that. That's another great movie. If you haven't seen that movie, it has Brittany Snow, Jeffrey Combs. Love Would You Rather. So, yeah, Reanimator. I was going to continue with a synopsis, but like that's pretty much all you need to know. And just the first of a few films, like I said, that has the triangle of Combs, Crampton, and Gordon. So 1985's Reanimator, number 8. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go right now. Fuck this channel. It sucks anyway. Go to go to Tubi and watch Reanimator. What are you doing with your lives? Number 7, lucky number 7, is a movie I adore. The first movie and the sequel, who I just interviewed the director, Jack Shoulder, of the sequel, Wishmaster 2. He also directed Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, Alone in the Dark, The Hidden, Arachnid. Great movies. So if you're interested in that, check it out. I'll put a fucking box link to it at the end of the video. But very cool interview. Awesome guy. But Wishmaster from 97. This is such a great film. I don't know why Andrew Divoff is still not doing some horror movies, because he is fucking fantastic in this and the second movie. There are a third and fourth one in the series, and they are terrible, like a fucking train wreck. So bad. So ignore him. That's when Andrew Divoff played the Jinn in the first two. Didn't play him in the third and fourth, and that's not the only reason the movie's terrible, but they are terrible movies. But we have this woman who ends up wishing, or no, she will wish, yes, but she ends up finding a ruby that she gets from some guy trying to pawn it, that he found when a statue of Ahura Mazda, a old god or some shit, or some shit, fell on a delivery to Robert Englund. And there are a lot of horror icons in this movie. There is Robert Englund, there is Ted Raimi, there is Tony Todd, there is Kane Hodder, there is there's a few others. Is it in 2 there's Buck Flower, or is it in this one? I think Buck Flower, and there's Tom Savini, which you can barely see him. If you pause it at a certain scene in the pharmacy, you can see it. And she ends up breaking this opal that has a jinn in it, which is just like a genie, but an evil genie. And she has to wish for 3 wishes, and he has to grant them, and then the jinn, his species, can take over the planet. Amazing movie, so much fun. I never understood why the jinn never became more popular of a horror villain. Definitely, we need another Wishmaster film, like either Wishmaster 5 and have Andrew Divoff back, or a remake with Andrew Divoff back. Like one way or the other. So Wishmaster 1997, You can watch it on Tubi for sure. You can watch all four of them, and that's number 7 on the list. Number 6 is that's gonna get old. Number 6, I don't care, is going to be another classic movie. 19 no 19 2005's The Descent. Amazing film. Another great creature feature slash monster movie. And honestly, they didn't even need the monsters in here for me. Like, just being in the situation they are is scary as shit enough. It's about a group of women who end up going to a cave system to explore, to go splunking, and they find out that it's inhabited by these bat-like creatures who start picking them off one by one. Great effects on the creature, and it looks fantastic. The movie itself, like, just the whole atmosphere is so claustrophobic. I love it. At the same time that it makes me claustrophobic. Awesome movie. It should be on Tubi. Check it out. The Descent at number 6. We're getting in the top 5 now. The top 5 of the 50 best horror movies you've never seen. A countdown of horror's hidden gems. And so number 5, Alone in the Dark, which is from 1982 and is directed by Jack Shoulder, who I just mentioned, directed Wishmaster 2, who I had on and interviewed. Awesome movie. This has Jack Nance. This has Martin Landau. This has Donald Pleasance. God, like that alone. And we have this mental asylum, and there's a power outage, and it ends up all the people come out of the cells in their rooms, and they get to walk the earth again. All the crazy loonies and wackaloons. And it's absolutely awesome. Like, they start just going crazy. People are killed. Great stuff. So I don't know where it's streaming. So try Tubi. Alone in the Dark from 1982 at number 5. Now, number 4 is a classic old film. 1955's shit, why did I just forget it? Oh, Night of the Hunter. That's right. I've seen it once. It is a very atmospheric movie. It's black and white, obviously. And, well, not obviously, they're color. But the atmosphere in this movie, it feels like a dream. It feels like like an atmosphere. It feels like an atmosphere. The atmosphere feels like an atmosphere, is what I say. The atmosphere feels like a dream, like a fairy tale. And it's about these two kids whose father had, like, I think it was like money, like a bunch of money or something like that, and he dies, and the kids know where it is, and this guy comes looking for it and chases these kids. Terrifying. Excuse me, to think of being young kids like that and being chased after by this guy. I haven't seen it in so long, but it is a classic, and check it out. If you like old classic films from the 50s, 40s, stuff like that, 60s, definitely check it out. I don't know where it's streaming, but I'm sure you can probably find it, like, in a few places. It should be public domain by now, right? Yeah, because Night of the Living Dead is 68, and that's public domain, so it should be. I don't know. But check it out if you like dreamlike, fairy tale-esque movies. So that's number 4, The Night of the Hunter from 1955. Number 3, I'm so happy this movie is on this list and this high up, is 1982's The Beast Within, directed by Felipe Mora, and stars a young Paul Clemens, who I am working on getting him on the channel for an interview. I talked to him on Facebook a few months ago. He said he would absolutely love to come on, but he's going through some personal stuff with a friend of his who was sick. and sadly passed away. But he's gonna reach out to me when he's feeling up to it, and said he would definitely love to come on and talk some Beast Within. And it is such an underrated monster movie with absolutely excellent practical effects, with a great, amazing transformation scene at the end. So we have this boy, Michael McCready, who McCleary, sorry, I was thinking of The Thing for some reason. Michael McCleary, who ends up having, he's very sick. His parents don't know what's wrong with him, and he basically has something inside him that's trying to burst out. And there's a lot of themes of cicadas throughout the movie. You don't see that often. Like, it's a very original story for the most part, but awesome creature feature, awesome monster movie, awesome practical effects, decent performances, and love it. Like, one of my favorite monster movies from the 80s, and it's hardly ever talked about. So check out The Beast Within. I don't know where it's streaming. The last one I covered it for the channel a month ago or so, I had to rent it. So I'm not sure where, but go check it out. Number 3, Beast Within. Number 2, we're getting on that number 1 spot, baby, is 1988's Pumpkinhead. Now, this one's a little lesser known for not horror fanatics. This is a great monster movie, and we have all practical effects. The monster was on screen as it looks, for like, which is amazing. All I think the work was all done by Stan Winston, who is a legend with makeup and special effects and puppet tea. Yes, we're gonna watch Puppet Master. I have tea. I have 3 more of those fucking movies to cover. I really hope one of them at least is good before the end of the series. But I digress. So Pumpkinhead is about these group of kids who go into like the country, the backwoods, and they end up getting into an accident and accidentally hitting and killing Lance Hendrickson's son. And he's so, as anyone would, like, is so pent up with rage that he goes to this witch and basically wishes death upon them. Then he starts feeling bad about it as Pumpkinhead, the creature, rises from the ground and starts killing these kids one by one. Awesome monster flick, awesome creature design, very atmospheric. Like a lot of in those great shots in the woods with Pumpkinhead walking around with mist or the fog coming in. Like great cinematography. Absolutely love Pumpkinhead. It has like 3 or 4 sequels. I don't think I've seen past the second one, so I can't really comment on them. But the original, man, check it out. So number 2, Pumpkinhead. Are you guys ready for number 1? Are you ready for the number 1 greatest or best horror movie you've never seen? Well, this is going to be anticlimactic because it's Black Christmas, which is absolutely insane. Like, it is an absolute classic. How does anyone not know Black Christmas? But it was directed by Bob Clark, who very weirdly also directed A Christmas Story. So, 2 Christmas movies, a family one and a dark as shit one. Now, this was from 1974, and they basically, it gets a lot of credit for influencing the slasher genre, and it has, for sure. It influenced John Carpenter's Halloween. And it's about the sorority on Christmas break, and they end up getting on Christmas Eve. Yeah, on Christmas Eve, when most of the campus has gone home and everything, they end up getting these perverted phone calls. And God, man, the phone calls are so creepy. They really are to this day. They like send chills down my spine sometimes. Like real creepy and real perverted stuff like you just didn't hear in the 70s, the early 70s, like in movies. And they're like awesome performances by Olivia Hussey. It's Olivia Hussey, right? Yeah. And even has an abortion like subplot in there, which is another gutsy thing for a movie from '74 to do. And they end up getting a serial killer, ends up breaking into the house, the sorority house, and starts killing the sorority girls one by one. Absolute classic. I don't know, many people have never seen Black Christmas, but if you haven't, I'm pretty sure it might be on Tubi, if not on Shutter. But definitely check it out. So the number one horror movie that you've never seen is Black Christmas. All right, guys. So I hope that was something fun and different. This was definitely a fun time counting down this whole documentary list. And for people who stumble upon this who aren't following my channel and stuff and or aren't huge horror fans, I hope you heard some movies that you never saw and definitely check them out. If you do check some of them out, come back, leave a comment, let me know what you thought. And while you're coming back, if you do, might as well hit the subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated, almost to 500. So, everyone for watching, thanks so much. Everyone in the chat and the premiere, this is past JT going to future people. Thank you for coming into the chat and watching, and I will talk to you guys soon, wherever you're from, whether it's night or day. Take care, guys.